Hey, it's me, your sous chef. Just letting you know to perfect this recipe, you should add a little bit of salt, a hint of pepper, and a big old dash of this podcast. Before we continue my first ever journey through the Harry Potter series, just a few quick announcements. First, I wanted to give a huge shout out to the Potterless community for being so amazing and selfless and really stepping up to the plate. For April's charity of the month, I pledge $1,000 to help people out with any sort of bills that they're struggling to pay because of COVID. And so many people from the Potterless community gave me money to dish out that the initial $1,000 ended up becoming $4,000. That is so huge. That is so fantastic. We're really able to help a lot of people. So thank you all so much. It was so nice and reassuring to see how great this community is truly in action, trying to help people out. And I really appreciate all of you so much. Second, this Thursday, April 16th, I'm going to be doing another Instagram live stream with Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. We did it last week and it was super fun. We want to do it again, but this time on my account. We just did a bunch of Q&A stuff and it was very fun and wholesome and good to talk with Vanessa because we were supposed to have a live show, but it got canceled. So if you want to be a part of that, just make sure you're following Potterless on Instagram. The account is @PotterlessPodcast. And finally, I gave my personal website a bit of a makeover. I was getting tired of the template that was there. It was due for a refresh. I figured I should have something that looks a little more professional and creative now that I'm working on new projects like Meddling Adults, which is coming out soon, but you can get exclusive access to the pilot right now if you join the Multicrew over at multicrew.club. But I wanted something that looked a little bit nicer, and now I have something that I'm proud of, and I think it's really nice. So if you want to check it out, you can go to shub.es, that's schub.es, and check it out now. And speaking of new things that make me excited, we have new patrons to welcome to the team. So shout out to Sam O, Moonshoes Potter, Sam Collison, Ryland, Anna Oliveira, Randy H, Sam Matzi, Amelie Lundin, Nicole Vida, Tyler Shimek, Lucy McManus, MFA Sorensen, Aaron Shea, Tatiana Cottle Taylor, Xanthi Tassapolu, Eric Pelicana, Andrew Rainey, Aisling Morgan, Shanti McGinley, Tyra Tonks, Nina Schultze, Charlotte Raymond, Rivka, Juliet Pellegrini, and someone that made their name Ashley, like all girls in the 80s. A name correction for Henrika Wolf and Matthijs Mazraïu. Shout out to Lucy Chata who upgraded their pledge, and a huge shout out to the return of Leor Nachum to the producer level status, as well as our new producer level patrons, Angela Hill and Julia Buzak. They joined the ranks of Vicky, Aaron, Clow, Marchismo, Samantha, Juan, Rose, Maria, Ramina, Audra, Eleanor, Nikita, Ali, Amelia, Sarah, Ben, Rachel, Zachary, Orchid, Vivian, Haley, Moster, Alex, John, Noel, Liz, Brandon, Claire, Rory, Veronica, Lotta, Noah, Tracy, Colleen, Jennifer, Friday, Ivor, Summer, Andrea, Justin, Jacob, Maya, Mark, Polly, Zena, Harlan, Noelia, Addie, Nikki, Kine, Amanda, Alicia, Kafir, Sarah, Marta, Eileen, Keegan, Mr. Folk, Maya, Floor, Siri, Georgia, Skyla, Edel, Professor Threat, Ellie, Elizabeth, Michael, Tiffany, Kelly, Carrie, Connie, Jen, Nedry, Will, Samantha, Aurora, Marcus, Courtney, Marique, Ashton, Brittany, Phelan, Julie, The Meadows Family, Ginny, Brianna, McKenna, Heather, Brad, Thomas, Brianna, Kevin, Lori, Chrissy, Jarl, Haley, Ashley, Peta, Sophie, Jen, and Nicole, Callahan, Kylo, Leah, Melissa, Bella, Melanie, Bill, Victoria, Elizabeth, Britt, Becca, Reese, Adam, Joseph, Lily's mom, T-Run, Madison, Kyle, Tonks, GK, Sabrina, Sophia, Farzan, Melanie, David, Maria, Matt, Okamahime, Yimki, Bony Pony, Jacob, Kelsey, Taco, Blowfish, Rike, Taylor, Rochelle, Megan, Alicia, Riley, Colleen, Stin, Laurel, Rossanne, Erica, Miranda, Landon, Kendra, Natanya, Yogan, Darcy, Richard, Sandra, Craig, Andron, K.A., Rob, Anna, Steve, Steamed Nuggets, and Can't I, Potter, who never take a clean plate out of the dish rack and then instead of putting it away decide, I'm gonna wash this again. If you want to be like one of these amazing patrons and get access to director's commentary, bonus episodes, exclusive live streams, exclusive merch, and more, you can head on over to patreon.com/Potterless. But without further ado, let's get into episode 121 of Potterless, covering the Playgoing experience of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, guest starring my wife, Kelly Schubert. Hello, Internet, and welcome back to another episode of Potterless, the tale of a grown man who didn't read the Harry Potter books as a kid. He read them as an adult. He watched all the movies, and then he had to pay $400-something to see 6 hours of a bad play. My name is Mike Schubert. I'm that grown man, and I'm here joined by my wife, Kelly Beckman, to discuss this theatrical event that we attended called Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2. Kelly, how's it going?
First of all, that was a very long tagline. It just gets longer the longer you do this podcast.
That's what's going to happen.
Second of all, you called me Kelly Beckman.
Oh, did I say my wife, Kelly Beckman?
Yeah.
Well, legally...
Are you taking my last name?
No, I'm not.
This is great.
Legally, I would be correct to call you Kelly Beckman because you haven't changed your name yet. But in actuality, you're Kelly Schubert.
I changed my Instagram name.
Well, yeah, to Schubert.
How much
it's all
more formal can we get?
Did I tell you that in our vows when I originally sent them to Aunt Judy, for when
Not
she was
our vows,
officiating. Just, her efficient speech
Yeah.
and stuff that I accidentally put Michael and Kelly Beckman.
Yeah, I saw you do that. I was so excited. I wasn't going to say anything.
She sent an email. She was like, Michael, I don't want to, step on you. I know you're a very
You're a very
progressive couple,
young man.
but are you really taking Kelly's last name? I was like, I'm sorry. I'm just so used to typing Kelly
yes,
Beckman.
Did you send that email back? I was like, yes. Yes, he would love to be Mike Beckman.
I don't know. It doesn't have the same ring to it. Kelly Schubert is fun.
So is Kelly Beckman.
It is. Kelly Beckman is very good.
Yeah.
But Mike Beckman is too much.
Michael Beckman.
Michael Beckman could work. It's still a lot of in your face.
It's true. I don't have any cousin or uncle Mikes.
No. Anyway, Harry Potter. So Kelly and I saw Cursed Child in June of 2019.
Yes.
I don't know exactly who was in the cast and stuff. I'm not well enough versed in Broadway.
Do you want me to read the playbill?
No, because it's going to be a bunch of names that I'm not going to know.
Yeah.
There's an entire segment of the episode I've already recorded that's going to come out later with Gordon Cox about the play's impact on Broadway, where I said, this person did this. Are they a big deal? And I was asking about the director and the set designer and the music and all this other stuff.
From the one that we went to or from the original cast?
From the original cast.
Did we see the original cast?
No.
I didn't think so.
There were a couple people from the original cast, but it was mostly new people.
Okay. Yeah.
So we saw the play. It was a 2-day extravaganza.
Mm-hmm.
We had the variety where we went to 2 back-to-back nights during the week. The other option when you see it is that you can see it in the morning and then the evening, or I guess around lunchtime in the evening on a weekend. But we did back-to-back weeknights. So in this episode of Potterless, we just wanted to cover the entire play-going experience of Cursed Child, especially because this play, at least to me, was highly touted as, oh, if you read it, it sucks, but if you see it, it's good. And I saw it and I still thought it sucked. How did you feel overall?
Yes and no. I've seen my fair share of Broadway plays. I've seen a lot. And I thought it was very good. It was not the worst one I've seen. It was not the best one I've seen. There are many I would see again and have seen again. And I'm not sure I would go see this one again.
Well, especially because it's 2 plays.
And 2 tickets worth of money to see it again. Yeah.
Exactly. So the entire coverage that we'll be doing for Cursed Child here is going to be 6 episodes. This one, 4 about the plot, and then 1 about just the Broadway impact. But I wanted to give as much of a holistic overview as we could as possible and just kind of go through chronologically our entire experience of seeing it. So let's start from the very beginning. I bought tickets. Not a great experience. I had to buy twice as many tickets. Didn't enjoy that. Not very fun. And that's all there is to really say about that. It was hard to pick seats and stuff because the Lyric Theater, where they have it here on Broadway, is a very long theater. So it's hard to get a good seat unless you're getting one that's very close and then thus very expensive. We ended up getting seats in the right orchestra towards the back. I thought we were going to be in front of the mezzanine overhang, but we were right behind the mezzanine overhang, which was a little annoying. We couldn't see the entire top of the stage area.
Overall, though, I think we missed maybe 5 to 10% of what happened.
Right. It's
and
not that much.
It wasn't important things happening in that part. What's more frustrating than a long theater is a wide theater. The theater where they show Frozen is so wide, and my brother and I were on the very end. We saw like 60% of what was going on. You know what that means, though? That means you didn't use View from My Seat, which is
I did use View from My
did?
Seat. That's a problem. I tried to use the website viewfromyseat.com and look at different pictures and stuff, but the pictures that the people had didn't have the overhang in it, so I thought we were safe.
Okay. I still thought it was fine. I had a great time.
Yeah, it was fine. I just know that some people got screwed. I know when Amanda and Eric saw it, they had the same kind of thing. They were about as far back as we were, but they were closer to the middle, and I think that the mezzanine sticks out a little more in the center, so they had even more. They couldn't even see the clock.
Oh.
And that's not necessarily the most important thing, but that is the highest point at which something important needs to be seen. I remember the only thing, and spoiler alert for anything, we're going to be talking about the play and stuff. So if you're listening to this, don't tweet at me after and be like, you ruined it. This is an episode about Cursed Child. When at the end of part 1, the Dementors fly in, I couldn't see all of them flying around. I could only see parts of a few of them.
I will say, though, the effect still shook me to my
core.
core.
The Dementors effect? Yes, very cool. It was very, very good. So ticket buying experience, not great just because I felt like it wasn't easy to determine if my seats were going to be good, but that's more of a Broadway thing than a Chris Child thing. But we got the tickets, and then I was running late. Why did I run late?
Because you're Michael Schubert.
True. But I was running late to being early. I wasn't actually late. I just wasn't.
I wanted us to get there 20 minutes early.
Right.
So that we could, because the theater is always like a really, going to a show.
Going to the theater is a fun experience I wanted to enjoy.
I treat going to a Broadway show as like a souped up version of going to the movies. And I still like to go to the movies early and like sit in my comfy seat and get my snacks all laid out and watch all the previews. But like when you go to a Broadway show, there's a whole experience of getting to the theater early. They usually have the theater themed to whatever the play is and like checking that out. I always got to pee right before it starts.
I was going to say, this is all a very fancy way of you saying about your experiences. You just want to pee. That's all you want to do. And the women's restroom lines at these theaters are always so long.
Yeah.
Is it just because these theaters are old and they don't have big bathrooms? Because every time we see a play together, your line is so freaking long.
Yeah. They move really quick, though.
It's still... Even this Harry Potter one, they were downstairs and yours like wrapped around.
Yeah.
First off, why don't we just have unisex bathrooms everywhere? Very annoying.
Yeah.
This would make everything so much easier.
I mean, second of all, if you want to get into this debate, men have urinals, so it's very easy to like get people through the assembly line much quicker.
Right.
And second of all, women just pee more often than men a lot of times. I don't know what the ratio of men to women are at Broadway shows. Feel like it could be pretty split even.
I feel like it'd be pretty even.
It's not like a baseball game.
No.
Or I'm trying to think what would be more heavily slated to women. Any other event usually has more. I don't know.
A Jonas Brothers concert.
The David Museum had a longer women's line than men's line. Why are women the only one that want to do cultural things and men just go to baseball games? I don't get it.
Baseball? Less so than basketball. Basketball is culture. Baseball is fine. Basketball.
I just revel in being able to go to short bathroom lines at sporting events. I remember the first time that we went to...
that's your...
Yeah.
I see.
I remember the first time I went to a Dynamo game with my dad and my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And we all like went to go to the bathroom. And I got out so much quicker than them. And it was just the most amazing feeling. I was just standing there waiting for them. It's probably for like 2 minutes, but it felt... just so satisfying.
Also, women's restrooms are always so much nicer than men's rooms.
Yeah.
At least in the same situation. One time at Rice, I was studying in Razor Hall.
You went into the women's restroom.
Well, it was one of those things we used to go into this building. It was like a language and other building, but our student IDs could swipe in because they didn't have the security system properly. So we could do homework late at night and not have to rent a room at the library that capped you at 4 hours max. This is why me and my friends in college broke into this language building at Rice.
Oh, I used to study there late at night too.
Yeah, because they didn't change the security on the doors until a couple months were left in our senior year. It was very sad.
Nice.
But I used to do math problem sets there. And the way that the floor is set up is there's a women's restroom just on the 3rd floor. And then for the men's restroom, you have to go up to the 4th floor. And this is 3 a.m. We've been doing engineering work for 5 consecutive hours and no one's here. I don't want to walk up a flight of stairs. So I just walk into the women's room because no one else is here in this building. It was so much nicer. There were little succulent plants. There were those little aroma things where it's the liquid and then the sticks sticking out of it. And it was actually nice. I used the men's restroom earlier in the evening and everything was wet. There were no paper towels. The door was off the hinge in the stall. Like,
no way.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was atrocious. And then the women's restroom was so nice. There was a couch on the side when you walk into the entryway.
Yeah, there was.
What the fuck is that? I was so upset. Oh, I was so mad. And I came back and I was studying with my buddy Patrick and Jacinta. And I was telling them of this discrepancy. Jacinta was like, wait, your restrooms don't have couches? We're like, no, we're lucky if they have soap.
But Shakespeare in the Park bathroom.
Right.
Women's line wraps around the building. Men's line like 10 people long.
Did you just go into the men's
I
room?
just went to the men's room. It's very Shakespearean.
So anyway, Harry Potter. So I was running late. I was
5-minute bathroom rant.
I was probably doing my hair, honestly.
probably. You were probably doing your hair.
I think I was doing something in the studio that ran long.
You were late enough that I was actually worried. You got there like 3 minutes before
I got there
showtime.
I got there 5 minutes before.
I was pacing real hard. I'm sure I look like I don't hide my like nervousness
No,
very
you don't.
well.
Not at all.
Like if I just, especially like I know that people know I just like mess with my thumbs, pace a lot if I'm standing. I looked a wreck because you got there with like no time at all, and I had to pee, and I couldn't go in without you because you had the tickets.
I did have the tickets.
Yeah, and you told me you'd be there 20 minutes early.
I did.
So I got there 25 minutes early.
Sorry. That was a poor decision. Why would I be earlier than advertised? That's not me.
I didn't want to be late for our early time, so I accidentally got there early. And then you were late for our early time.
So we got to the theater and Kelly peed. And then we took photos. They have a little photo booth type deal set up where they have the 4 banners.
We did that the second night because we were too late to do it the first night.
We did it both nights. We
did it during intermission on the first night.
But I do have the proof on my phone that we're literally looking at. So the first night.
Oh, look at our outfits.
I'm wearing mint green pants, a Wizard on shirt, and a blazer with a little pin. I think I was wearing the books turn muggles into wizards pin that Vicky Garcia got me. And you're wearing a nice little gray dress you got from Hannah.
Yeah.
I took a picture with the Gryffindor banner. You took the Hufflepuff. And then the second night we were there, we did it with the Slytherin and the Ravenclaw banners just so we could collect them all.
Gotta catch them all.
The woman who was taking photos, you just handed her phone. She took a couple photos and then you had them. She was great. She was very quick. She was moving people through the line. She knew exactly what poses to tell people. Basically, do a normal one, do a silly one, do something else, and then boom. And it was a very quick process. And then we were able to get to our seats right before the play started, which was very nice. And then the play began. Yay. I did not know much about the play going in. I knew that there was a time turner involved. I knew that it was a sequel. I knew that it was about Harry's kid, Albus, who got sorted into Slytherin. And I knew it was about Draco's kid, Scorpius, who was also sorted into Slytherin. I didn't know why they were time traveling. I didn't know many other things. That's all I knew going in. What about you?
Well, that's more than I knew.
What did you know?
I knew that it took place after the epilogue.
Okay.
That's it.
Cool.
I knew it was part of the Harry Potter franchise.
Nice. Wow. All right. Very informative.
Yeah. I knew that Hermione was played by a Black woman.
Which is very cool. I like the casting choice there.
That's all that I knew because that made its way through like the social media zeitgeist.
Yeah, because
people were stupidly mad
cis
about
white
it.
men were like, oh my God, she was white in the books because there's that one quote where it says Hermione was white in the face, which is complete bullshit. But also, who cares? Who cares? I did.
Yeah, so that's all I knew. I literally knew nothing else.
So the play began, and for anyone that hasn't seen it, we'll be giving just some very quick overviews of certain parts, but not anything incredibly in-depth because that's the point of the episodes about Cursed Child to follow. But the beginning is pretty much a recap of the epilogue. That's fine. I was kind of bored because I've read the epilogue. And then they kind of go through Albus's first 3 years, or for his first 2 years, and they go into his third year very quickly. I felt anxiety watching the beginning of the play because it was so fast and so much.
I felt like I was missing pieces. I felt like, oh crap, I should have read this before I came because I feel like I'm missing out on something.
There are so many scenes and there are so many scene changes. I did the reading for this because I recorded some of the episodes already. In Act 1, so the first half of the first night, there are, I think, 20 scenes. 20 scenes. Now, I am not a play enthusiast. I enjoy going to plays, but I don't read them for fun and stuff. But I had to read a couple in high school. And my understanding, usually an act has like 5 scenes in it, 7 scenes in it, never more than 10. I could be completely speaking out of my ass here, but 20 feels like a lot. 20 feels like so many scenes.
It is a lot, but I was also completely thrown off by the fact that it was a play. I don't go to very many plays. I go to a lot of musicals. But it was a play, and then all of a sudden they start this music dance number that's bringing them through this like 20 scenes. It's like the saga of his first 3 years. Right. They tell through like dance and there's no singing, but it's this very loud music that was louder than
Imogen Heap, baby.
It was like louder than the dialogue, and it was very jarring. And the I will say the dancing was super cool.
The dancing was very cool.
And the way they told it was very cool. But I was just like so jarred out of everything that I like you, I felt like a little bit of an anxiety watching the beginning. How is this going to take 2 nights? We're going so fast. Isn't this play going to be over in 10 minutes?
See, on the flip side, anytime they did something that wasn't plot, I knew, oh, that's how this is 2 nights, because there were so many transitions, and all of these transitions are just people doing cool robe flipping tricks and wand stuff and all this unnecessary stuff. And I was already mad about buying 2 tickets, but every time they did something that wasn't any sort of dialogue or plot, it was just filler stuff. I was like, you could have cut this out and we could have been here for just 1 night. But I don't know if it was where we were sitting or if it's just the way the theater was set up. But I agree with you. I think the music was way loud. It felt very loud. And it definitely felt hard to hear all of the dialogue at certain points when there was music or sound effects and talking at the same time.
Yeah.
The only time, though, that wasn't hard was when it was just hard to understand what people are saying, because I felt like every line was screamed. I felt like no one talked in this play. I feel like everybody screamed in this play.
I didn't get that.
Scorpius Malfoy screamed every line.
I think he was an angsty kid, and that's why he screamed every line.
He's an anxious, nervous kid, but it was like, okay, I get it. Not every line needs to be yelled. And for me, a lot of the delivery of that felt very stereotypical theater-y, like a theater kid vibe, which I don't enjoy.
I didn't get that. I got these are nervous, anxious boys, and that's why they were yelling.
Right, but then
the adults didn't yell.
I thought the adults yelled. Draco was very like grumpy. He was like, "My son, there's rumors about him. They say that he's the son of Voldemort and not my seed." Like, I felt like everything was yelled. And then Harry was just like, "Dumbledore." Like, I don't know. I felt like everything was at an 11 and it was no range of volume.
They were anxious boys too. So
it's true. It is Harry Potter and Draco. I don't know. I felt like everything was screamed. I felt like there wasn't enough range of volume in the delivery of stuff, which is not the case when we see a good play. When we saw Lifespan of a Fact, I thought that was great.
Oh man,
that play was good. Dan Radcliffe was in it, and it was very good with some lines are just spoken, some are said more quietly and softly, others are yelled when they need to be. I thought that was a much better delivery of lines, and it was kind of hard for me to discern between emotions just because everything was at 11.
Also, 90 minutes, no intermission.
That was great. Really good. Big fan of that. Not 4 nights.
But then
2 nights, 4 parts.
But then I did wait 2 hours outside in the 10-degree cold to see Daniel Radcliffe, who then had to be rushed off in a car because people started a fight over something that he autographed and the cops were called. And so
those Harry Potter fans, man.
I was just so
they're just rabid.
Mad. I literally couldn't walk home. My toes were so cold. I had to stop in a Dwayne Reed until they thawed so I could keep walking.
And I did not stay with Kelly
because you were editing.
I had to edit an episode of my podcast because we were seeing this play on a Sunday night and I needed to get it out. So this is not my fault. This is your fault, listener at home. Feel bad for Kelly's toes. It was my fault for not getting the edit done earlier. But I did
also my fault for buying tickets for a Sunday.
Well, and also
I asked you though, didn't I?
No, we did it because it was the last night of the showing and it was the only night that had tickets left.
Yeah.
But also your fault for wearing open-toed shoes.
No, they were closed.
Well, they were heels.
They were boots. They were heeled boots.
Oh, then why were your feet so cold?
Well, because I was then wearing stockings and not socks.
There it is. But I did get you poke to eat when you got back, which I think was pretty nice of me.
You met me at the door with a blanket and fuzzy socks.
I did, yeah. You knocked on the door.
Nice.
I immediately wrapped you in a blanket and sat you down and put fuzzy socks on you and then gave you a bowl of poke.
It was such a weird night.
The play, phenomenal.
The play was amazing. Watching Daniel Radcliffe get whisked into a car that then went the wrong way down a one-way street because cops were coming from both directions to break up this fight. I was like, I need to get out of here. These are grown men fighting over an autographed like Harry Potter doll and things might get serious, but I can't run. My toes are frozen. It was so weird.
Anyway, so Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Yeah, the beginning felt very frantic and things slow down a little bit when year 3 begins because that's where the actual story starts. But unfortunately, after 2 scenes of what seems like normalcy, you have the scene with the trolley witch.
Nope.
The trolley witch who turns one of her candies into a grenade. And this is how the narrator in the book version describes it, that it is thrown and explodes like a grenade. And
her fingers are so weird.
Yeah, basically she chases Albus and Scorpius, who are trying to escape off the top of the train. She chases them on top of the train, and then her hands extend into really long, spiky fingers, very Edward Scissorhands-esque. The problem is that this effect was kind of cool, but not that great, and it took a really long time.
This is the first time where I had that thought of, you could have cut this out.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a 5-minute scene of her hands growing.
And I don't know if it was an issue with the props or if it was just poorly created, but it did feel like the 2 boys were frozen on the train and she was making her hands look like they were going to be scary, and they were just kind of like, waiting until they finally get all the way out, and then they were like, we should jump off the train. You guys could have done this while she was extending her fingers.
So weird.
But it wasn't a cool effect. A lot of the other effects that were done were really cool, though, throughout the play. All of the magic was really cool. They had parts when they would shoot a spell like Incendio, and you could see a flame go from the wand all the way across. And I assume they had some sort of very thin wire you couldn't see where they lit something all the way down. All of the wands have little lights on the end of it. So there's a lot of times where they'll do Lumos or something, and just the wand will have a little light and you can't see. It's really sweet. The first time when there's a really cool series of effects, they do the polyjuice thing, which was impressive but not super cool, because what they basically do is have a way of the actor who plays the person that they are polyjuicing into comes up from either behind something or through the floor and goes into their robe, and then they go out and stuff. Like they're wearing like intentionally kind of bigger robes. And it took a long time. It was kind of cool, but you could tell what they were doing. What I thought was really sweet, though, was when Harry and Draco get into a duel inside of their house, and they do a bunch of really fun spells. There's one where Draco ends up being levitated and he rotates 90 degrees. So he's parallel to the floor, and then he goes back, and then somehow a chair gets thrown and flipped upside down or something, and then it breaks. That was the first time when they did effects that I was like, this is really cool. I hope there's more duels. And unfortunately, there weren't that many more, but that was really fun. All of the effects there were really cool.
I thought that the polyjuice one was kind of cool. I take it back. I knew 2 things about this play. I knew it was after the epilogue, and somebody had told me they do polyjuice on stage. So I was waiting for that. I was like, polyjuice? What does that have to do with anything with the story? But I was like, I don't care. I'm just going to go see it on stage.
Similar to the effects, something that I did think was really, really cool is the set. The design is really nice because it is very simplistic, but also complex at the same time. There is not a lot of backdrops. There's not a lot of big props, but mainly what they have are these big wheeled rectangles that turn into a lot of different things. They put them together to make the train, and then they have them separate and tilted to be the staircases at Hogwarts. They put them together to be bookcases at times. It's really cool how they use all these different things. They're on wheels and they spin and move really easily. So they are constantly being moved all across the stage and turned into different things. And the stairs are put in different orientations to where people can walk up one set and down one set. When they're at the ministry, they put them side to side. So it's one really big wide staircase. They do a lot of really cool things with the set, and they do a really good job of making you feel like you are in a lot of different locations when really they aren't changing that much, which helps when you have a play with 50 freaking scenes in it. But they were able to change things really quickly and smoothly and seamlessly, and I really appreciated it.
Well, they also did that through a lot of the lighting effects. They would use the same background, but the way the lighting changed made it a very different set. Which was cool. Yeah,
I thought it was really fun. I think the set is probably the best thing it has going for it, with the magical effects, I would say, are second best. I just thought the set was really impressive.
The magic was really cool. I would say they're even in my mind.
Yeah, they were both really solid.
One thing that would be really interesting, the Lyric Theater doesn't have any box seats, so like seats that are up high and close to the stage.
You know, the fancy ones that Statler and Waldorf sit in the Muppets.
Right, but they're actually in the Broadway world, a lot of times not that fancy and the cheaper seats. So I sit in box seats a fair amount of the times. I've seen 4 different plays from box seats.
Do you bring your tiny binoculars
I would love
attached to a stick?
Oh, I would love to. I made sure I sat in a box seat when I went to see Anastasia because of the scene where they sit in box seats at the opera. Anyway.
You're looking at me like I know the plot of Anastasia.
Yeah, you decided to not go to that one with me. I offered for you to, and you're like, do you really want me there? And I'm like, do you $70 want to be there?
It was $84, and my brain initially said, that's how much it costs to be in the lower bowl of a Knicks game. Can't do it.
I cried. That play was so good.
And I cried at the Knicks game because they're so bad.
Anyway, I sat in a box seat for Aladdin, and Aladdin is another play that does a lot of magic, obviously.
Yes.
And but it was really cool because you were higher up and over the stage a little bit, so you could see them setting up the tricks, and you could see them like wheeling in different sets and different tricks. It was really cool to see the behind the scenes of how it works. I think it'd be so interesting to do this, and maybe that's why they don't have box seats, because they want to keep it magical.
Probably.
Well, I mean, the ones at Aladdin were the lottery seats were in they literally shot the confetti cannon from behind my head.
Heck yeah,
and
dude.
I screamed so loud.
With it being Aladdin, I'm imagining this happened during Prince Ali. And I'm imagining it's like the blah, blah, blah. And then instead of the blah, blah, they shoot a cannon and you go on beat.
It was so loud that nobody heard me. It's fine. But it would be like somebody would magically appear somewhere, right? And you'd be like, wow, how'd that happen? But from up top, you'd see that person had been crouching behind something for the last like 10 minutes, which was really cool.
That's very fun. I would love to get some sort of behind the scenes access tour and just see how they do all of the effects. Like maybe go to a dress rehearsal or something.
I'd love to see a dress rehearsal with the lights on.
I should start shooting off some more emails and touting that I'm the most popular Harry Potter podcast. Be like, hello, I did release 6 episodes of a podcast saying your place sucks ass, but could I get a behind the scenes tour?
You know, right now Broadway is closed.
That is very true.
So when they start back up again, they'll have to be doing dress rehearsals to an empty theater.
Just me, the one boy.
Right. We can definitely stay 6 feet apart from people in an empty theater.
Yeah, and then from across the theater, I can be like, this place sucks.
No, you can't do that.
I'll text you, this place sucks.
I wouldn't have said it sucked.
What would you say?
It's not my favorite play I've seen.
Would you say it was $250 worth spending?
No.
Exactly. That's why my bar
Would I have rather have seen another play like from an incredible seat? Yes.
Would you have rather eaten $250? Hold on.
$250 what?
Hold on. Let me do the math.
Is it honey butter chicken biscuits?
Would you rather have eaten 72.89 honey butter chicken biscuits from Whataburger? I much rather.
No. Over my lifetime, maybe. That is so much. I wonder if Whataburger does delivery.
They do.
To our apartment?
No, because we live in New York. The closest Whataburger's in Florida.
I wonder if I can get... I used to, because my family lives in Texas. I did an internship year here, and a lot of my classmates were also in New York, but had been in Texas for a long time, so we're missing honey butter chicken biscuits. And I used to, whenever I would go home to visit my family, bring honey butter chicken biscuits back for whoever's birthday was next. And it was a true sacrifice to be hungry on a plane with a really good smelling biscuit.
Listener at home, if you ever find yourself in the southern United States, go to a Whataburger between the hours of 11 p.m. and 11 a.m. You can get a honey butter chicken biscuit, add a fried egg. It will cost about 80 cents, but it is well worth it. Anyway, back to Harry Potter.
I like mine more without the fried egg. Continue.
Sure. To each their own. The play after this scene is fine. It wasn't my favorite. There are some cool effects throughout. The bookcase thing in Hermione's office is fun.
I thought that was really cool how they disappeared into it. That was pretty neat.
The time travel is actually really cool because they do the thing, I don't know what to call it except for what we saw. What's the centennial, what did they call it when they did the light thing?
Projected light?
Yeah, but what was the name of it? It was called
It's called the Spectacular.
The Spectacular,
at
yeah. Up close but no cigar past Mike and past Kelly. It was actually called The Spectacle. It was done by Thorsten Bauer of Urban Screen, and you can watch the video yourself if you YouTube search for Spectacle Rice University. It was very cool. I highly recommend it. I was very fortunate enough to have been a student at the school while they did this thing. Anyway, back to the podcast. But basically, if you've ever seen one of those things where they do light projection on buildings, but then change it in a way where it looks like the building is moving, they kind of did this with the stage. Whenever they actually activate the time turner, the lights are affected in a way where it looks like the walls are waving in and out and the clock is moving in and out. So it actually feels like you are moving in and out. And that's a really effective use of the theater and the sound and all of the effects to make it really feel like you're in it. I thought that was really fun every time they did a time travel.
Yeah, every time they time traveled, the light and the sound it was very cool.
And then the clock spins to show that you're going back or forward in time. It was really sweet.
They turn it into a forest, the Forbidden Forest at some point.
Yes,
too.
they do.
And I thought that was a really cool use of lighting and set. And then, is he in the water in the first part?
Yeah, first part. The last time
cool.
he comes back from time traveling, Scorpius is in the lake and he's just in water. And I don't know how they have a pool in the middle of the stage, but they make it happen. It's really cool. And something that soon happens after that, which is really sweet. Spoiler alert. One of the times they time travel, they mess it up so badly that Voldemort has taken over and Death Eaters are king and everything is super evil. And the way that they end the first night is Dementors flying in and everything's black and they have this big Voldemort logo with a Death Eater and a V and they play this intense music.
Very dissonant, foreboding music. Shook me to my core. It was very good.
It was really chilling. The Dementor effect, the way that they do it is the Dementors are actually white and everything else is black and they shoot them with white light. So they look really creepy and they come from the ceiling and they are really, really long and they have incredibly flowy gowns of sorts.
It did not look like a puppet flying around, which is what
I think it's a real person in there.
You think so?
I think it's a person suspended. I think it's Cirque du Soleil. I don't think it's just...
I was worried that like flying Dementors would look like puppets swinging through the air, but it looked like...
I think it were real people.
It was really creepy.
But then when you actually leave, that's the end of part one, all of the theater has changed. And I think that's one of the coolest things about the play is that I've seen some plays on Broadway where the theater isn't themed after the play. You just go in and it's just a theater and then you take a seat and then Dear Evan Hansen begins. But when we went to this play, everything is Harry Potter looking. The bathroom is Harry Potter looking. The carpet, the walls, everything looks Harry Potter-esque to a T.
Yeah.
And then when you leave on that first night, everything has become dark and Voldemort-y.
And all the staff, too, is dressed and speaking and, like, the things they say, the way they tell you to be quiet and stuff is all very within the Harry Potter world.
When you go in on night one, they're very nice and whimsical. When you leave on night one, they are
Get out
and
of
brooding,
Voldemort.
leave. Yeah.
Like,
and
really?
a very nice touch is that when you walk in, they have a little merchandise booth where you can buy all the different shirts with the crests. They've made modernized crests for the 4 houses with just letters turned into the different animals. When you leave, you can only buy Voldemort merch on the first night. I noticed that all the shirts and stuff were all just the black Voldemort Death Eater logo thing.
That's really funny.
So that's the first night. Hey, Kelly, this is a perfect time to take a little bit of a break for something that we like to call Wingardium et Ridosa.
Buy some things.
Today's episode of Potterless is brought to you by Tab for a Cause. I don't have to give you a hypothetical situation. It is the perfect time right now to add Tab for a Cause to your Google Chrome. It's a Google Chrome extension. Every time you open a tab, you get a heart, and then you can give those hearts to different charities, and that raises money for that charity. Tab for a Cause has also been doing some great little challenges. Previously, they gave to a COVID-19 relief fund. They had a challenge going to provide meals. They have a challenge right now going to provide clean water. They've been really on top of the ball, and you can help fight this awful virus simply by opening tabs on your Google Chrome web browser, which you're probably going to be doing a lot. All you have to do to set it up is go to tab4acause.org/Potterless. It'll take you to a page where you can install the Google Chrome extension. It takes about 2 or 3 clicks and then you're going and you're raising money for charity. It's fantastic. Also, every time you open a tab, it shows you a different nice, serene background, which is really good in these times to have something calming, and you can add little widgets and stuff like that. I use it, Kelly uses it, we both really enjoy it, and we've raised money for charity. At the time of recording, they've raised over $884,500 for charity. And if you want to help make that number bigger, go to tab4acause, tabforacause.org/Potterless and install it to Google Chrome today. Finally, I wanted to take this time to tell you a little bit about the Patreon. So we have our regular things on the Patreon, like bonus episodes where I put clips from different live shows that we've done, for example, things that might not even be episodes ever. There's also the exclusive merchandise like Wizard on stickers and Wizard on shirts that you can only get on the Patreon. The shirts are black and and soft, and they have gold reflective font. They are so fresh. But also, I've just been posting some extra bloopers and audio clips that don't make it into the episodes recently. There's a couple of outtakes from this particular episode with Kelly, such as a very perplexing police car siren driving down the street, or Kelly laughing uncontrollably before we began recording. I've been posting a bunch of those fun things just to say thank you to all of those who have been supporting. So if you're a patron at any level, you'll get access to those little bonus clips. And then, of course, we have our mainstays like the live streams and director's commentary and the monthly bonus episodes, etc. So if you want to get all of this extra bonus content goodness because you need some extra content to consume while you're stuck at home, you can get all of that at patreon.com/Potterless. And you can join the Discord as well, which has been very fun. And there have been Jackbox nights, and we've done our monthly trivia nights, and I'm talking with people, and it's been really great. And that is if you're a $2 and above patron. All of the information is there for you if you go to patreon.com/Potterless. Thanks, Editing Mike, for those sick deals. So, night 2, I enjoyed part 2 much more than part 1.
Yes.
I was also more on time.
Yes, you were more on time. Not at the time we agreed on, but still more on time.
Was I late the second time?
By like 2 minutes. You were fine.
Why do you still remember?
I did go to the bathroom before it started.
Mm-hmm.
We had enough time to take pictures before rather than during intermission.
Mm-hmm.
We got to look at the theater a little bit more, which was cool.
Mm-hmm. I thought night 2 was better for a couple reasons. First, I think that the play was better paced. It didn't feel as rapid. They had some longer scenes. The whole scene where they time travel back and actually fight with Voldemort, that was more consistent without jumping from place to place. I thought that contributed.
And also with some really cool magic.
There was some very cool magic during that whole thing. But also, I think that my brain had kind of numbed to disliking it and being upset. And I went in, not necessarily with lower expectations, but with an understanding of what I was going to get. I basically went into night 2 saying, okay, the plot of this play is very bad, but everything else is very cool. So I'm just going to appreciate the very cool aspects of this play.
The plot also is a little bit better in the second half.
I agree, yes.
I feel like for the first half, I went in with medium expectations. You went in with low expectations. I went in with medium expectations. And I feel like they plummeted really fast. And then that last scene with the Dementors really shook me and made me want to come back and actually find out what happens. It was the first time that I was intrigued by the plot and to be like, wait, how do they get out of this? What happens now?
It was a very good cliffhanger.
Yeah, it was a very good cliffhanger. I'm a sucker for those.
Oh, me too. And JK does every ending of a chapter in the later books is, so I can see why the play is like that too. But I definitely enjoyed the second night more. I think they did some really cool magic with Delphi when she's the augury or whatever, the bird thing. Her flying is really cool. And then they do the one effect. I forget when it happens, but there is a reveal. I think when they reveal that she's the bad guy, they do this really cool black lighting effect where she's written stuff all over her house.
Her house. She's like written on all the walls, her evil plans and stuff.
So they do a black light and it's just all over the theater. Everywhere.
It's the ceiling because we were under the mezzanine. So it was the ceiling above us, the walls around us.
The posts, the support beams in front of you.
Yeah, so her writing was all over this scenery that we, at this point, had seen for like 4 or 5 hours and had not noticed any of this like writing on it.
And even when the light's back on, I was trying to look for it and I couldn't see it. So it was a really good effect. Really well, I was very surprised by it. So that was really cool. That was one of the few times that being behind the pillars and under the mezzanine, it was actually cooler because you got to see more of the writing.
You were more immersed.
So that was a really cool effect that they did. I really think that all of the good elements were more out to play in the second night, which was cool because there was less plot stuff going on. I think part 1 just gets so muddled down in the plot because they're trying to describe so much and there's so many characters and a bunch of them you don't really need and there's time travel and things keep changing and then they're back to normal and oh now Snape's here and oh now Snape's gone and there's just so much that it felt so hectic and the second night didn't have that same problem.
Yeah, it's like the first night was a very long-winded way to set up this issue and then the second part was solving this issue, which was a much more intriguing thing to watch than them setting up the issue for 3 hours.
I agree. I honestly feel like the first night, instead of doing all of these quick scenes to try to set the scene, they should have just had a Shakespeare-esque person when they do the monologue sonnet at the beginning to tell you who everybody is.
This is a tale of...
This is the tale of Albus Potter, who is very grumpy that his dad is famous. He got sorted into Slytherin and he's not like Harry at all. There is tension between Harry and Albus because Albus is not like his father, but he does not want to be like his father, though he is convinced his father wishes he was more like his other son, James, who is a piece of shit. Like, I would have loved a whole little monologue just to save us time.
Yeah.
So much of the play was either stuff we had already seen, epilogue, or setup, that part one just really sucked. And I enjoyed part two a lot more.
Yeah, if you had to buy just one ticket.
Which you cannot do, unfortunately.
You can't?
No, you have to buy them in pairs. Which was annoying when we were trying to find it. Because you have to buy them and then pick the two nights. You can't just like pick one, and you can't do a thing where you're like, oh, I'm going to see part one this week and let me see part two next week on this day. You can't do it.
I guess it makes sense because they don't want half-empty theaters.
And they also wouldn't want you to buy a ticket for Wednesday and then they say, oh, Thursday sold out. So
that's
so
true.
I get it. It is just frustrating.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed part two. I thought it was fun. I still didn't think it was a great play. It wasn't anything I was going to write home about in a positive light. But but I think it was more enjoyable, I guess, because there was more action and less dialogue. And I think that the dialogue really falls flat. I don't think that the dialogue is as fun as the Harry Potter books are. They weren't being very sassy. Everyone's just really angry. Everyone's angry at each other. Albus is mad at Harry. Harry's mad at Draco. Draco's mad at Harry. Ginny's just there. Like, there's so much whimsy and fun in the books that does not translate over to the dialogue of the play. I felt like that was really lost. The only funny character is Ron, and he's barely in it. And they just turn Ron into Fred and George.
Yeah. Also, Ron loses all of his character development from these 7 books and just becomes the comedic relief.
Everybody loses all their development. Ron just becomes Fred, and Ginny just becomes movie Ginny. Draco goes back to being a bully.
Yeah, that was really disappointing.
Everyone just goes back to being...
They revert back to their 11-year-old selves, which is really unbecoming in like 30-year-old men.
Right. Harry weirdly starts off as a nice, good father. Then after the first time travel becomes a huge asshole. But then the question is, did the time travel do that? Or is it just really poorly written? But he becomes a jerk very abruptly. Then he goes back to being a nice father after a couple of scenes. But so many people just regress, and it makes me really sad that that development is sort of lost. Hermione is the Minister of Magic. She had said in the books that she didn't want to work in government at all. Then in one of the time travels, she becomes the Defense Against the Dark Arts professor, her worst subject. So that doesn't make any sense at all. So there's just so many things that made me really sad. And this is why I think it's not a good call to do a sequel that features all of your most beloved characters written by not you.
Yeah.
JK approved of the story. I know, I'm sure she had tweaks and input and all of that. But if you're going to develop these characters that we love and we grow attached to and we know enough about to form in our brain, this is something Ron would do, this is something Hermione would do, this is something Harry would do, and then you make a story when they act differently, it makes us very frustrated.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's really, really disappointing that all of that character development is lost because the Harry Potter books have a great amount of plot and magic and fun and whimsy, but I think one of the greatest things is watching. It's a book about growing up, and you watch them grow up and become people that you really love and respect, and then they lose all of that and you don't love and respect them anymore. Very similar to in Gilmore Girls.
Oh my gosh.
I've been looking for a platform to rant about this for years, Michael.
Let it go. For all the Gilly heads out there.
All the Gill heads. They do 7 seasons. And yes, the 7th season was written by somebody else, but that's now canon. It's real. It happened. And then you make this after this year that takes place, I forget what it is, 10 years after the fact. And you lose all of the character development that you spent 7 years making. And you go back to the problems that these characters had in the first season. Lorelai hates her mom. Her mom is a jerk to her. Rory doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. Like, she's living back at home with her mom and can't decide if she has what it takes to be a journalist. I'm like, okay, I saw all of this before, and I hated them at different parts when they were going through this, and they came out on the other side, a character that I really liked, and now you've reverted them back. This is not who Rory would be in 10 years. Maybe this is who she would be a year later. But 10 years of being a successful journalist, she wouldn't now be living at home with no job prospects and wondering if she could be a journalist. She wouldn't be dating a guy that she had no respect for while sleeping with a man who's engaged on the side, and then when they actually want to be together, say no. It's the same thing. You just like chop out all the character development and start new with these people that should be beyond this by now.
Especially because I think that the 7th book does a really good job of people ending on a good note. Percy at the very end becomes not the worst. Harry becomes really mature in those final chapters where he accepts his fate and knows what he has to do and accepts death. Ron becomes a lot more mature. Hermione is a badass throughout. I don't know that she really changes that much, but
she becomes more respectful with her knowledge.
Yes. Draco has the interesting thing of not giving up Harry and not being okay with the evil that's around him. So maybe he becomes good. And then in this play, he's just a bully and he hates Harry and he says mean things.
No.
And
like
it
in the
sucks.
epilogue where he and Harry make eye contact through the mist and they have that nice moment. It's like, okay, we've gotten past these petty arguments of your childhood. Perhaps Draco's, I like to think he served some time and he's on the other side of it now, you know, a rehabilitated human who's like a nice person, has seen the error of his ways or whatever. Then it just goes back to the same, you know, book 2 dueling Harry and Draco.
That's about it. So let's end this on a happier note.
I really loved the last scene where they're sitting in the station, Harry and Albus, and they have like an actual sentimental conversation, and the set itself is really beautiful.
That is very good. The one thing I wanted to say that I will defend this play, and I have, and I will continue to do so, is I think Scorpius Malfoy is a very good character.
Yes.
I think it's a very interesting character to have someone that is the son of Draco that is so different than him. It is someone that just wants to be nice. He finally is the good Slytherin that we get to learn about that we never got to, and Albus is good too. Yeah, but Albus is kind of a piece of shit. I mean, he's Harry's kid. But Scorpius is just so nice and so wholesome and so genuine, and he wants the best for Albus and Rose and his father and his family and everyone else, and I love him. I really enjoyed him as a character. I really enjoyed the performance, even though he was a bit yelly and stuff. Oh, one other thing, though, that Johnny pointed out that I think is very true is that everyone sprints off stage. Every scene, everybody's fucking sprinting to the side. It is constant running. Everybody runs for every scene transition. Everyone is running.
That is
all the time.
It contributed to it feeling.
It could even be not. It could just be like, "Oh, I'll see you later. Have a good day at work. Have a good day at work, honey." Just runs.
Scorpius was a great character. The actor who played him was really good, and the character himself was a really interesting character to see. And I wish we could have seen that in an entirely different plot setting.
Well, what would have just been nice is if this play was just about him.
That would have
not
been very
Albus.
interesting.
Because
if Albus hadn't been part of it all and it just been him.
Or a minor character.
Yeah,
he's there, but we already had 7 books about Harry Potter. We don't need another story about Harry Potter.
Right.
Because basically what kind of happens in the play is that your 3 most important people are Albus, Scorpius, and Harry. But give me a play where it's Scorpius and then featuring Albus.
That lady, Delphi, what was her name?
Delphi.
Delphi.
She's Voldemort's kid.
I think she's 3rd most important, not Harry.
I don't know. She's just a villain. But, I mean, Harry's in it a lot.
Anyway.
Scorpius is great. I think he's a very good character. I think that his friendship with Albus is really nice. I really enjoyed that dynamic throughout the play. I was upset that they didn't kiss at the end. I was definitely feeling romantic vibes between Scorpius and Albus, and I was very sad that that wasn't fulfilled, or just that there wasn't any gay person in the entire play. No one was gay. I guess Dumbledore was there as a painting.
There were no romance stories, though, in this.
I don't get why you can't just have a scene where Seamus and Dean walk in hand.
Oh, I'm down for that.
Married as they should be.
Oh, I love that.
Just have them walk across the stage. Have them work at the ministry.
The one thing I will say, though, is that with Scorpius and Albus's relationship, while I think that it gave off vibes that they were into each other as more than friends, at the same time, I kind of appreciated that we got to see a male-male friendship that was very intimate and deep and loving. And Harry and Ron's friendship
is just classic boys.
Harry and Ron's friendship, I felt like they were both like very afraid, and in the movies too, of like losing their masculinity by showing too much emotion and by showing too much emotion to each other.
Right.
So I thought it was really beautiful to have this friendship where they were showing so much emotion for each other and not feeling emasculated by it. I thought that was a really beautiful friendship to see. You know, did I think there were romantic vibes? Potentially there were romantic vibes there, but I really liked that there was a male-male friendship that acted that way.
And I guess it could make sense because they are teenagers and stuff. They are young. Who's to say where their hormones are at and what their preferences are and stuff? Maybe it's something where Scorpius is interested in boys, but Albus is not interested in boys. So it wouldn't work. Or they don't know. Or who cares? Because they're still going through puberty. So maybe it doesn't all fit there. I'm very sad. I already recorded the episode with Gordon Cox about the impact on Broadway. Mm-hmm. And Gordon is gay. And after recording, I'd already stopped the recording. We were talking about this aspect of the play. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get the audio of it, unfortunately, but he mentioned something about there being like queer baiting in the play. And I wasn't I was not well versed enough to know what he was getting at. Hey, it's me, Editing Mike, who has had more time to understand what queer baiting is. According to the internet, it's a marketing technique for fiction and entertainment in which creators hint at, but then do not actually depict same-sex romance or other forms of LGBTQ plus representation. So I looked into the response specifically for Cursed Child. Basically, people didn't enjoy that there were romantic hints of Albus and Scorpius getting together, but ultimately no sort of proof that anything was there, and also that there was just no LGBTQ plus representation anywhere else in the play at all. Anyway, back to the podcast. I asked, is it because it seemed like Albus and Scorpius were going to get together, but they didn't? And he goes, no. But then he went on to say, I had many friendships where I was interested in the boy growing up and the boy is not interested in me. So I felt like it was a pretty accurate friendship. So it could be something like that. But I think it would have been nice if there was some sort of gay relationship in the play, just because JK had talked this big game of having all this so-called diversity that she promised to have known the whole time, but she didn't include and stuff.
Right. This was her place to kind of do
This is your chance. This play was written in 2016, or at least it was released in 2016. Like, you had the chance.
But I didn't think it had to be Albus and Scorpius because I really liked having a deep friendship in that way.
Right.
It could have been somebody else.
You could have written something where two people kiss and they are not a boy and a girl.
Can James have a boyfriend? That would have been so interesting. James, the popular one, the golden child, has a boyfriend and everybody's cool with it.
That'd be tight.
That'd be great. I think that would have been the one. Or Rose, because she's like supposed to be hot stuff too.
Sure.
So like make one of your other characters. Make it a romance story. Like, go in or don't.
I appreciated the friendship between Scorpius and Albus. I didn't feel like it had to be romantic. I had felt some romantic vibes, but it was disappointing that it didn't happen just because I thought it would have been really cool, but it wasn't necessary. I wasn't so downtrodden by the lack of romance between them that I threw everything away upset. It was just something I was hoping would happen, but didn't. But still, I really do appreciate, like you said, their friendship for being an emotional one where they're not afraid to be themselves and be honest and open with each other, because Ron and Harry's was not like that. So I appreciated Albus and Scorpius's being very vulnerable to each other of a friendship, because they're both going through a lot individually in different ways for different reasons. And that's what brings them together and makes them strong. And then they go through not only their individual problems that they sort out, but also this big time turner situation that they have to deal with together. And I think that their friendship, along with Scorpius being a great character, are the most redeeming elements of The Cursed Child.
Right. Like for Ron and Harry's friendship, it became like a punchline almost for them to like shy away from talking about emotions.
I mean, yeah, it was they were written in the peak when boys my age would say something nice about a friend and be like, oh, no homo. Like that was the era.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's the era those books came out in, was when you would say stuff like that.
I forgot that was a thing that people did.
Yeah, and now it's 2020 and Johnny and I text each other and we'd say I love you all the time. Like, I love the dude.
I know, but how many times on our honeymoon did you say, yo, if Johnny were here, we'd totally be like playing chess on the beach right now? And I'm like, I'm sorry.
I just want to go.
Want Johnny here on our honeymoon?
But I would like to go on a bro honeymoon with Johnny.
You can't call it a bro honeymoon. You get one honeymoon.
What do I get to call it then?
Bro trip.
A bro trip?
A trip to the beach with Johnny.
Okay, I want to go on a trip to the beach with Johnny. We've been playing a lot of chess in these quarantine times. I've kicked his ass 3 times. We're in the middle of our 4th game. So anyway, that is our recap of our play-going experience to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Overall, I would say it is still a positive experience. If you are a big Harry Potter fan and you find yourself in New York and you want to see it, I would say go see it if you don't mind committing the time and the dollars. Ticket prices are going down. Who knows what's going to happen with all of the COVID stuff.
When it's open again, who knows?
Ticket prices were going down because the play wasn't doing very well. And you could see it for maybe not that much. I would say don't plan a giant trip if you live in a different country and you're thinking, I'm going to fly to New York and get hotels and go to... It's not that good. But if you find yourself in New York and you want to do a Harry Potter thing, go see it. It's fine. It's fun. Go into it knowing the bad plot stuff, and then you will enjoy the other elements more. Because all the other stuff that isn't the plot is really cool. The sets, the magic, the costumes, the music, the building itself. Just accept that you're not going to like the plot, and I think you'll enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
Do you have any other final thoughts, Kelly?
I still liked it. I know that it wasn't great, but I still liked it. I wouldn't have... calling it a lot of names throughout this that I would not call it.
I'll cover this in some of the plot episodes, but to me, it's a bit of the Pixar standard type deal, where when a Pixar movie is just fine, I think it's more disappointing. I have not seen Brave or The Good Dinosaur, but the general vibe that I get is that those are fine. But because it's Pixar, you're sad that it wasn't Finding Nemo or Toy Story or something truly incredible, like The Incredibles. But when did the last book come out? Like 2008 or something?
I have no idea.
You should know. You read the books when they came out.
Yeah, I did.
Siri, when did the last Harry Potter book release?
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows was published the 21st of July, 2007.
2007. So this play comes out in 2016. You have 9 years to produce a sequel, and this is what you make?
Yeah.
You have 9 years in between.
And
I get that you're making the movies and you're doing all this other stuff. And you're writing the Robert Galbraith books or whatever. But 9 years before things are added on to the canon. And this is what we get. I think that's the disappointing thing. I think all of my over-the-top negative emotions are not just because the play isn't that good. Because you're right. It wasn't atrocious. I still enjoyed it. But the fact that it's 2 plays, the fact that you had to pay double the amount, and the fact that you have all these expectations of the sequel to Harry freaking Potter is this. And it's just unfortunate that it is using time turners, which is already a broken mechanic. And the main crux of the plot, aside from the Scorpius Malfoy stuff, is let's save Cedric. I don't know. It just feels like too overdone thing. We've already covered this. Why are we bringing it back?
And the other crux of the plot is, who did Voldemort have sex with?
Yeah. That's the other thing. The whole time, I got to be thinking about Voldemort's dick the whole play.
I was just like,
the whole play, I'm thinking about his dick.
I don't want to know who he was sleeping with. Like, I viewed Voldemort as an asexual being.
I viewed him like a Ken doll. He's nothing. He's a snake. There's nothing down there.
When he split his soul in 7 pieces, the first thing to go was his penis.
That is where the soul lives, in
For
the
men,
dick.
sometimes.
But yeah, that's the other thing is the whole time you got to be thinking about, it starts as a rumor that Scorpius is the son of Voldemort. So you're thinking, this is so ridiculous that it can't be true. And then the play goes on and then it's revealed, oh, it is true. Voldemort fucked Bellatrix.
Which my thought was like, he was way more turned on by power than he was by people.
And Voldemort isn't the type of person that would want to have a seed. He wouldn't want to have anyone challenge the throne.
He planned on living forever.
We just watched Black Panther. He's Killmonger burning up all of the Black Panther plants so that no one else can become Black Panther.
Right.
Voldemort wouldn't want an heir to the throne.
No.
There's no way. It doesn't make any sense.
Also, pretty sure he'd be sterile from that like process that happened of burning him in the potion in the Goblet of Fire. Pretty sure he came out sterile from that.
Yeah. Also,
either that.
Or
I can't say this, Mom. Turn it off.
Your mom's not listening.
Miss Bond, turn it off.
Kathy Beckman knows how to work the podcast app? You think Kathy Beckman's got Spotify on her phone?
Or when he was rebirthed, given his new body, his penis came back as a snake.
Not good for sex. But Voldemort is so busy trying to take over the world. You think him and Bellatrix are going to take time aside to be like, okay, we have to make love?
Artificial insemination.
Maybe.
There's a spell for it.
But what? Here's the deal. I have seen many a sitcom, and I know people in real life where they are trying to conceive, and it takes them many times, sometimes days and weeks and months to make it happen. You think Voldemort ran into the situation? You think Bellatrix is charting her internal temperature and her periods and when she's most fertile?
There's a spell for that.
You think she's got all this stuff going on to be like, Voldemort!
Tonight's the night, Voldemort. Set the candles.
Fuck me! You think he's doing all of that while he's out trying to make Horcruxes and kill Harry Potter and all that? It's like, sorry, Death Eaters, I need to go home and make love to Bellatrix so I can have a seed. No way. So unbelievable. So, yeah,
Completely unbelievable.
I didn't enjoy that part of my brain the entire time is thinking about Voldemort sex. And then also Bellatrix doing all of the stuff. She's pregnant while she's doing all this stuff?
I think the idea was that she was pregnant after... Oh, never mind.
She dies in book 7.
This is the second
she
time
gave birth
this is happening.
before book 7.
She disappears. He confines her to the Malfoy Manor. Remember that?
Maybe that's when she gives birth.
So my guess is that's when she's in her last trimester.
I don't know. It's so stupid. It took us an hour for me to remember that. Now I'm angry that we did. We didn't mention the Voldemort fucking once. It sucks.
Oh, yeah, we did.
It's so bad.
We did. Yeah. So the 3 things that it hinges on are just
bad. It's so bad. I don't want to be thinking about Voldemort's junk for 2 plays for 6 hours.
And the really sad thing.
And a whole day in between.
Is Draco this whole time has to be defending the fact that he can have kids.
Guys, I can totally fuck. I'm not shooting blanks, guys. My penis works so good.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
It's bad.
It's bad.
So Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is a play. You can see it if you want. Listeners, thank you for listening. Kelly, thank you so much for joining and huddling next to me as we share a microphone in our apartment that we have not left for anything that isn't groceries in quite some time. Kelly, if people want to find you on the internet, where can they do so?
I am on Twitter as what am I? At Vote For Me, Kelly B.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's
me.
You can see Kelly tweet.
Oh, I'm not Kelly B anymore. Oh my gosh, it doesn't rhyme.
It's fine. I'm
keeping it.
Vote yes for Kelly S.
I'll make a second secret Twitter account.
Oh, yeah.
Where I only post cat pictures.
Okay.
That's it. First, we need a cat.
You're going to have to make it. Otherwise, someone's going to make this Twitter account.
All right, I'll go make it. When does this come out? I have
on Monday.
4 days to make it.
So go
yes, for Kelly S.
So go follow Vote For Me, Kelly B on Twitter. If you want to see Kelly tweet about BTS and sometimes other things maybe. After she has me proofread all her tweets. Is this funny?
You're my social media consultant. And they're always funny.
So Kelly, thanks.
And only 50% BTS.
Kelly, thank you for joining. Listeners, thanks for listening. And until next time, as they say in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, before they use a time turner that they were told doesn't exist anymore, but oh no, we have another one. Wizard on! In case you missed the announcement last week, I am working on a new podcast. It's called Meddling Adults. It involves me and some guests trying to solve children's mysteries from children's mystery novels like Nancy Drew, Encyclopedia Brown, The Hardy Boys, etc. It's very fun, and you can listen to the pilot now if you are a Multicrew member. So if you go to multicrew.club and sign up, you can listen to that first episode. It'll be public soon, but I'm still refining it a little bit. But if you want to get that in your ears before everyone else join the Multicrew, and if you want to be up to date about when the show goes live, just follow it on Twitter or Instagram at Meddling Adults. Potterless was created by Mick Schubert. It is hosted by Mick Schubert. It is edited by Mick Schubert. It is produced by Mick Schubert, as well as Vicky Garcia, Aaron Johnson, Klaus Lopu, Marchismo, Samantha Rose, Juan Sanfilio, Rosemary Dodge, Marie Lisa C. Keen, Romina Rivadeneira, Audra Eleanor Curlin, Nikita Power, Ali Madsen, Amelia Krause, Sarah Nink, Ben Silver, Rachel Guthrie, Zachary Polito, Orchid Grower, Vivian the Owl, Haley Hastings, Moster, Alex Consulver, John Kotker, Noel Beausoleil, Liz Bigelow, Brendan Pickens, Claire Spencer, Rory Collier, Veronica Bartova, Lotta Bartova, Noah, Tracy Toya, Colleen, Jennifer Mark, Lou Frieda, Jay Svensson, Ivor Peterson, Summer Rathel, Andrea Kroc, Justin Montero, Jacob Parrish, Maya Gray, Mark Body, Polly Burge, Zena Rosnowski, Harlan Haskins, Noelia, Addie, Nikki Harris, Kine, Amanda Alfred, Alicia McLaren, Kafir Shaltiel, Sarah Shedder, Marta Morrison, Eileen Gazesh, Keegan Curran, Mr. Folk, Maya, Flor Sake, Siri Skarsfjord, Georgia Davis, Skylar Lilly, Adele Ryan, Professor Threat, Ellie Hoskovchova, Elizabeth Christofferson, Michael David Yordi, Tiffany Cottrell, Kelly Otilio, Carrie Crumpler, Connie Bienkowski, Jen Went, Nedry OS, Will Huser, Samantha Lentz, Aurora Fruhoff, Marco Cepeda, Courtney, Marique Rieger, Ashton Gabrielson, Brittany Gutierrez, Phelan, Julie Walton, The Meadows Family, Ginny from the Block, Brianna Jordan, McKenna Tweedy, Heather Langeal, Brad Harding, Thomas Chavara, Brianna Kusumano, Kevin Stewart, Laurie McDonald, Chrissy Tiu, Charles Fiven, Haley Logan, Ashley Enstrom, Peter McGrath, Sophie Duda, Jen and Rose Daub, Nicole Linzer, Callahan and Darris, Kylo the Husky, Leah Reed, Melissa Rabb, Bella Barlack, Melanie Demi, Bill Gill, Victoria Colcapari, Elizabeth Yu, Britt McLean, Becca Spry, Reese Dignan, Adam Graham, Joseph Torp, Lily's Mom, T-Run Money, Madison Kyle, Don't Call Me Nymphadora, GK Have It Your Way, Sabrina Balsiger, Sophia Loves Pigs, Farzan Getabat, Melanie Duhrev, David Douglas, Maria Matt Barger, Okamahime, Yimki Bony Pony, Jacob Rossatano, Kelsey Gillespie, Taco Blowfish, Rike Mangor Jensen, Taylor Payne, Rochelle Mobbs, Megan Moon, Alicia Chapman, Riley Kiddis, Colleen Waters, Stin DeVoctor, Laurel Happy, Rossan Batamana, Erica Butler, Miranda Hurley, Landon Schwausch, Kendra Hertz, Natanya Page, Yogan Shanley, Darcy Alexandra Harrison, Richard Johnson, Sandra Rose, Craig McRoberts, Andron Kaufman, K.A. Robb, Anna Borgeli, Steve Trelaw, Leor Nachum, Angela Hill, Julia Buzak, Steamed Nuggets, and Can't I Potter. Web design by Kelly Schubert, audio assistance from Brandon Grugel, and the music is by Bettina Campamanes. If you want to find us on social media, you can at facebook.com/Potterless, twitter.com/Potterlesspod, instagram.com/Potterlesspodcast, and reddit.com/r/Potterless. For any and all information about the show, you can go to potterlesspodcast.com. For bonus content, you can go to patreon.com/Potterless, and for merch, you can go to potterlesspodcast.com/merch. If you want to tell someone about the show, whether that's online through a review or texting/messaging someone directly, that really does help. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, as they say in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Wizard on!